Please welcome Governor Jay Nixon.
Good morning. Thank you, Dr. Turner, and your great team here. I was here before when we were talking about the A+ program, and I appreciate students taking that challenging curriculum and meeting that challenge so that we could have that 2-year community college experience paid for by the state if you meet those requirements. So I continue to challenge students as you enter high school and as you move through high school to take that. It is always a pleasure to visit one of Missouri's excellent public schools and to be here with some of my friends from the legislature who have been incredibly supportive of public education. We're lucky to be with Senator Holzman, Representative Runyons, and Representative McManus. There couldn't be 3 better leaders. Obviously, significant educational history on all of them, and I tremendously appreciate their being here. It's also great to be joined by my friend Troy Nash, who works tirelessly on economic development, especially housing issues for the state of Missouri, and I appreciate your work. Today we're here to talk for just a couple of minutes about the outstanding achievements by student here on the 2013 MAP test and the annual performance report, and to highlight an issue that I hope is on the minds of the class of 2014, quite frankly, everybody here, higher education. Let's talk about those MAP tests. We have a way that we grade schools in Missouri. Everybody talks about ways to grade schools. Maybe some people want to talk about it simplistically by giving them an A or a B or a C or whatever. Instead, we have gone through a very rigorous process over the last 2 years to come up with something called Missouri School Improvement Program 5, MSIP 5. You'll hear folks talk about it. That is very high bar, and that's the grade that this school gets, not just a single letter grade, but numbers that go into specifically the opportunity and the output of this school. And so it is really, really important to understand how well this school did. This school scored among the top in the region, quite frankly, at the top echelon of the state, with a 93.7 on that new standard. So what that means is that there's 2 groups doing a lot of good work here. There's an administration and a board that are providing a curriculum, but most importantly, there are students that are meeting that challenge. And so my purpose for being here is to continue that challenge. It is incredibly important that you think about education as not ending at the 12th grade. We on the state side have worked hard with all these leaders to make sure that college is affordable as possible. We have had the lowest increase in 4-year tuition of any state in the country over the last 4 years. At the same time, we've expanded our A+ program to make it ubiquitous across our state. So it's very important as you look forward in that education to make that smart consumer choice too. And rather than going into significant debt, if you want to take that first 2 years at a community college, it is extremely important to provide that opportunity. Now, we have high expectations, as I said before. The MSIP 5 standards are very high. You hear this national debate now about what are called Common Core standards, which is our whole country taking on a different challenge. Understanding that education is a global enterprise. I mean, when I was a kid going to DeSoto High School, down in south of St. Louis, about 50 miles, the competition I had was among kids in maybe my school, maybe my county. When I went to University of Missouri, the competition I had maybe was folks in the Show Me State. But that's not the competition that you all have. Last Thursday, I was in Troy, Missouri, where Toyota was making a multi-million-dollar investment in a factory there that makes aluminum blocks for engines, lighter engines. Now, what's that got to do with your education? What it means is that those workers that design that, those workers that build that, produce that, they are competing with everybody in the world. Toyota could make that investment literally anywhere in the world, and they chose Missouri. And the reason they chose Missouri is we've got an outstanding education system, a great community college system, and a competitive zeal, and we've shown a great deal of fiscal discipline. You know, we as a state have maintained our AAA credit rating. We've worked hard to make sure that fiscal discipline is very, very real, and so it is important. It's exceedingly important. Now, this is a school district where over 70% of the students already are heading on to either 2- or 4-year institutions, okay? That is incredible. We set a goal for the state of 60%. You all have exceeded that goal by 10% already, and are moving up, and we want to continue to make sure that you meet that. Now, I want to talk about one other thing while I'm here, and that's a measure that the legislature passed this year that I disagree with. I disagree with it in a formal way. I vetoed it. And your school board has done a resolution saying they're on my side of this debate. But as we get here 9 days before the determination as to whether that veto will hold or not, I just wanted to take a minute and talk about it. It's called House Bill 253. Now, I know none of you will vote, but it's important that you realize. I mean, we have worked hard over the last 4 years to get this economy going again. It's not perfect, but we're making progress. And I believe deeply that this mistaken policy, which would take $800 million a year out of our budget and cut schools dramatically, would impede the progress you're making here. Because if we at the state don't do our part, then we leave a big gap, okay? And quite frankly, it is really important that that veto be what's called sustained, my position be held, so that we will have the resources to continue to see competitive schooling out there. The bill also has some other problems. It raises the sales tax on prescription drugs. Quite frankly, it raises the sales tax on college textbooks, which is crazy. I mean, college is expensive enough, and without them raising taxes on college textbooks. So it's a flawed bill, but ultimately, the most significant portion about this is flawed is that it would back up on the state's commitment to public education and would, the minimum, be $260 million cut a year to our K through 12 system. Right here in Grandview, even under the people that sponsored this bill, you all would see a reduction of at least $1 million a year to this district, and up to $1.7 million this year. Okay, up to $1 million, 1.7. But more important than that, $1 million a year that is coming from Jeff City wouldn't come. Now, I've been around politics a long time. You know, I've been around public service a long time. The reason I mention those two is I think you have to divide them. I think there's a substantial difference between politics and public service. Politics is the method you use to get to election and get in there. Public service is what you do after you're elected. And I think this debate has shifted off of that a little bit and gotten back into the political. Quite frankly, in my world, I mean, I serve everybody in the state. I don't just serve one party or one sliver of the state. And it's really important to make sure we provide better opportunities in the future. So I think this is a vital crossroads for our state. We're here at a time in which in 10 days, if my veto is sustained, we'll be in a situation to continue providing resources to this school. If these folks in an experiment want to cut taxes for the rich in the hopes that someday that will create jobs, and they win, then what will happen is that experiment will take a long time to figure out whether it was right or not. We don't have a long time. You're going to leave this auditorium and go back to class. You got to perform today. You got to perform this week. You got to perform this year. We are not about risky fiscal experiments in Missouri. We have made our brand on being conservative and work together, but public education is so important. I thank the local school board for stepping up on this and supporting my veto of this bill, and I'm very, very hopeful that we'll continue to build the momentum and be able to sustain that veto and get the resources continuing to come to this district. Now, I want to end this by congratulating everyone here at the Grandview School District on your continued academic successes. To the teachers, I promise that as you invest your time and talents here in the classroom, my administration will make sure we're doing everything we can back at the Capitol to invest in you, your students, and your school. And to you students, keep up the good work. I will tell you, we're going to continue to raise the bar on you. You'll feel like you've just gotten over the hurdle, and you'll get to the next hurdle and it'll seem a little higher. Because just like those workers in Troy that are competing with folks all around the world, so are you. And we are going to continue to challenge you. But amazingly enough, in this district and districts across the state, when we provide the resources and we support the boards and the administrators at a local level, and we challenge the young people of this state, they have been up to that challenge. Missouri continues to have math scores go up, reading scores go up, graduation rates go up, folks going to college go up, and that is essential, and it can't be done if the state doesn't provide the necessary support for schools, and House Bill 253 would take away our ability to provide that necessary support. So competing and winning in the global economy starts with education, and it starts right here. And if you keep your grades up and keep working hard, I promise you that we will work just as hard back in the state capitol to make sure that you have every advantage possible. So, in conclusion, thank you for being here. I cannot tell you how exciting it was for me to see the numbers off of school. When I was here a couple of years ago, I really felt had a lot of good things going on, but you're not sure until you see the numbers come in just where things are. These teachers, this administration, this board want you to succeed, are providing an opportunity, and I am confident you will continue to exceed even their expectations. Thank you, and have a great year.